Hello, everyone. It's Tracy Lewin.
And Mvanwe Smith.
How are you today, Mvanwe Smith?
It is has been an invigorating morning already. We're up bright and early, and there's so much going on. Bitcoin, Bitcoin, Bitcoin. As normal, you and I are just so passionate about the subject. What can I say? And you, Tracy?
Yeah, excellent. Thank you. I'm in Dubai, so I'm melting a little bit. I was outside planting trees and, well, not planting them exactly myself, but holding them up and pointing to the place they needed to be planted. But it was very, very hot, and I believe in August it's going to be quite sweltering. But it's fun and games, and there's lots of news in terms of Dubai and Bitcoin and blockchain technology. They're wanting to become leaders in fintech. So another one of the countries that are really embracing it. So very, very exciting times.
It sure is.
You know, and one thing though, if we can just say or reach out to all the women out there and all the guys that are watching this program, because I know there are a few. Just, you know, spread the word, get as many people involved in Bitcoin as possible. It is the future. It is the future currency of generations after us, and it's incredible. It's changing the whole landscape, the fintech landscape. We're in the digital economy, and honestly, it's fantastic.
No, it truly is. We just need to embrace, look forward and embrace the change that's coming. I remember when we went from DOS in computers. Some people don't even know what that is anymore. But we went from DOS to Windows, and I thought, gee, I'm not going to do that change. It's too difficult. Now I can't imagine living without Windows, for those that aren't Apple. And I think the same applies to Bitcoin. We just will not be able to live without it. We'll kick our butts if we don't get in soon.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So we're at the stage now where we want to talk about, all the stuff that you're teaching us, Merv. I mean, very, very valuable lessons every single week. And so over to you.
Thanks, Tracy. Often we walk around, and especially by the way that we've been nurtured and we've been taught, there's a huge majority of the population that are sort of, they exist to please others. So we're forever saying yes when we don't really want to, but it's the right thing to do, isn't it? So we're forever saying yes. We go to places we don't want to go. We get involved in stuff because we're trying to be loyal or faithful or whatever. So this quote was put out on my page this week, and it had quite a huge response. So I thought, this is possibly something that we need to take a look at. And that the quote says, respect yourself enough to walk away from anything that no longer serves you, grows you, or makes you happy. And that's all I really want to say is, look at where you are in your life today. And if there's an area that is just sort of like prickling you, like a spur in your shoe, look at it and walk away from it. Just make a decision and walk away. Because once you do that, you then open up some space for the new, the life-giving stuff that's going to help you to grow, things that are going to help you in success can come in. But if your life is sort of packed together with stuff that no longer serves you, there's no space for anything else.
I love that, Merv, because it's true. And, I'm a people pleaser too. And you tend to kind of think about others instead of thinking of yourself. And and that's what you have to do. You need to start thinking about yourself and respecting your own opinions and your own views.
Exactly right.
Because the other thing is there's only one person who can make you happy, and that's you.
You know what? We should actually spend some time on another broadcast, because that is the absolute truth. Where people are going out to sort of like look for a man in their life, but they're incomplete within themselves. So they continually get into relationships that are not working. etc. You have to be complete within yourself, love yourself, respect yourself, because then you can be all you were meant to be. And in that way, you serve the world, the community, everybody far better. But I suppose that's a talk for another day, right?
Well, that's excellent move. And, I'm definitely taking something out of this because I need to every now and then pull myself up and start thinking about myself.
Exactly, and we run out of time and then we wonder why. It's because we're doing everything for everybody else. Women we are just made up that way, I think. We just continually serving people, serving others, doing stuff for everybody else except ourselves. So please, people, respect yourself enough to just walk away from that stuff that's not serving you, is not helping you to grow, and most certainly will not make you happy.
Absolutely. So, do you know what does make me happy though? Bitcoins make me happy.
Woo-hoo!
And these are the. You know what, Merv? You actually had a session the other day with a whole group of people, and you got a whole lot of questions. And sometimes when you're involved in Bitcoin and you've been around the block a few times, you kind of forget about those initial questions that somebody who is completely clueless asks. So we thought that this is a good idea for the next few broadcasts, just to go through some of these questions to help people, because very often people are shy to ask a question, and because they think it's a stupid question or a silly question, but there's no such thing as a stupid question. So that's what I want to do today. The first question we need to talk about is, can Bitcoins be hacked? And what is the answer to that? A big fat yes. We are seeing that cybercrime is increasing. There are issues in terms of, these hackers going in to, let's say, exchanges, hacking all the accounts. It's one of these things that actually happen, and we need to safeguard against it. Is there anything you can add in terms of hacking?
Well, yes, Tracy, there's a number of things that I'd like to say on that. Is that, there are bad people out in the world, and it doesn't matter actually whether it's a Bitcoin, whether it's a bank account, whether it's your website, whatever. Cyber hacking is a fact of life. But there are ways to actually protect yourself against that. And I can't remember whether we cover that a little bit later, but the simplest thing to do where hacking is concerned is, there's a couple of things, is to take your coins offline, which we can't discuss right now. But the piece that you can do is put in a Google Authenticator. That's the least you should be doing to ensure that your Bitcoins aren't hacked.
And of course, keeping your private keys safe. Don't hand out your password to anyone. So basically, the same thing applies to a Bitcoin account and to your normal bank account that you have.
Right.
You're still going to follow some of those rules. But sometimes, hacking does happen, and I'm pleased that you mentioned banks as well, because there's been hacking for years and years and years and years and years. It just is what happens. There are bad people out there, but we need to safeguard against it. And because we're going into this whole new digital economy, people are actually wanting to get into, to take something that is not theirs, and they can actually do it through computer systems. Very, very clever, but not very clever for the people who are having their Bitcoins stolen from them. So yes, definitely offline, and we'll cover that a bit later, but there are different ways to do offline, to keep your coins offline. So we'll cover that in the next week or so on other questions that have been posed to us.
Tracy, I think right now a good point to make on this is that, you have put up, and I can't remember whether it is in Women in Bitcoins, but you put in the Google Authenticator. I think you did a bit of a teaching or a video or something. Can we repost that after this recording? Because I think that's very useful for people to figure out what it is and how do we use it. And there's a lot of stuff going on in the press right now. We don't want people panicking and not getting in because they think, oh my goodness, I'm going to get hacked, I'm going to lose my investment. No, you won't necessarily if you take the proper precautions. Don't give out your password just as much as you're not going to give your PIN away to somebody who can then get into your bank account. Or like PayPal, for instance. A lot of us understand and know PayPal. Don't give your password away for PayPal. You know, these things are pretty basic and fundamental in protecting yourself against being hacked.
Yes, absolutely. So just follow that, and we'll definitely put that that video out there again. This is a $1 million question here. What is the best wallet to use? Well, I personally am using a Zappo wallet, but the problem with some of these exchanges and these wallets is that you are still, it's still in somebody's control. So, for instance, there are instances where some of these wallets are closed down if they don't like what you're doing. They can actually close your wallet, or they can, and I think Zappo have done that to a few people as well. Coinbase have done it. I'm sure there are other exchanges that have done it. But in terms of best wallet, that it can be a difficult choice to make because there are so many out there. Keeping, as we've said before, keeping your stuff online isn't necessarily the safest. You need to take precautions, but I think that at this point in time, Zappo is working for me, but not necessarily for everyone else.
Tracy, I use Zappo. I actually quite enjoy Zappo because it has a lot of functionality that you can't get necessarily, say, for instance, in local Bitcoins, etc., or blockchain. Zappo gives me the ability to be able to open up a number of wallets within my one Bitcoin wallet. So my different businesses that are generating coins or I'm paying Bitcoin from, I can have a different wallet within just Zappo. So I love Zappo for that. They seem to be pretty secure, but we don't know for sure. So the best wallet, I don't know. I use Zappo. I also use local Bitcoins. People are sometimes confused as to, well, do I have to have a wallet before I can get local Bitcoins and buy coins? No. Local Bitcoins itself has a wallet. So when you go in, you register and etc. Again, Tracy's done some wonderful teachings on this. Just go and have a look in BitMedia. You're going to find an incredible amount of resources there that will totally help you in just about every area where Bitcoin is concerned. But where the wallet's concerned, so local Bitcoins, for instance, will give you a wallet. You don't have to create one before you get it. So you can have one. And when it comes to wallets, I use Zappo. I use local Bitcoins. I've got a blockchain.com wallet, etc. My suggestion, though, is that you don't leave your coins in your wallet if you're not using them. So, and you don't need to use them. Rather take them offline. There are vaults and things to put in. What is the best wallet? Well, I don't know. I can just tell you what we've used. And you don't have to, for instance, have a wallet before you can buy Bitcoins. Some of these places already give you a wallet. For instance, local Bitcoins gives you a wallet already. So once you've signed up, you can already have a Bitcoin wallet with them. You can leave it there. Put in your, like we've talked before, put in your Google Authenticator. But I don't know that anybody can say with absolute 100% certainty that this type of wallet is the best. I don't know. I think there's a lot of opinion in there. All we're saying and suggest is you don't leave your coins in there that you don't need. Rather take them offline. Put them into the vaults. A lot of these wallets that you have, like for instance, Zapper will have a vault. You can move your coins into the vault, which just makes it so much safer.
And some of these wallets, they have a debit card attached to them. So that's also another use and would make you choose either or. Okay, where can I go? Where can I go touch and see a Bitcoin? Well, you can actually see a Bitcoin if it is an offline, if it is in an offline certificate that some people produce. They also can produce coins that look like Bitcoins, but they're actually just offline. It's just coin that's being kept offline. That's really what it is. You cannot touch a Bitcoin because it is a serial. It's a whole series of numbers that are on the internet, and yeah, you can basically see them and not touch them.
Correct, Tracy, because it's a digital currency. Digital, it's virtual, it's on the computer. So just as much as we can't touch internet, we can't touch Bitcoin.
We can't live without the internet or Bitcoin, but we can't touch it.
Yes, we can use the benefits of them.
Correct, correct. Because Bitcoin at the end of the day is a payment system. So, and it's a computer program. You can't touch a computer program.
Correct. And the reason that this came up was I did a cash sale of a coin via a third party. So I had to take it to somebody's sister. I had to go and collect the cash from there. And her words to me was, well, who will you leave the coin with? And that made me realize that a lot of us right in the beginning don't realize that it is nothing physical, that it is purely digital. So I hope that helps.
Yes, I think it does. Okay, do I have to buy a whole Bitcoin? Is it very expensive? Well, firstly, no, you don't have to buy a whole Bitcoin. And secondly, is it very expensive? It depends on what you define as expensive. So Bitcoin is growing in value all the time. And yes, it would have been nice to buy it when it was 0.005 cents or, but now it happens to be in the, well, we've had just a little bit of a dip. So it's even reached up to $700 $100 per Bitcoin. So, people who bought it for $10 are saying, wow, it's so expensive. But this is just why it is so important to get into Bitcoin, because you can actually see how this value has grown over time.
Correct. So a Bitcoin has, if you look at if you were writing a number down, you would have then a decimal point, and then normally we just have 2 digits. Like if we're talking like a normal currency, it'll be $1.25 or 5 Rand 26 cents or whatever. But with a Bitcoin, they actually have 8 digits behind the decimal place. And the very last of that 8th digit, which I think is 1/1,000,000 of a millionth or whatever, that is called a Satoshi. So right now, a Satoshi doesn't mean much. But imagine if you were trying to pay, a lot of the people online would like a little tip. And if a lot of people tip them, they make a fair amount of money. And you might want to tip them 5 American cents. Well, you don't want to give them a whole Bitcoin, right? No. You want to be able to give them just 5 cents. So that's where if you were transferring from your wallet to their wallet, you would then go down however many decimal places you would want. So maybe the 5 cents would be decimal point 0.000023 or something like that. Maybe that's 5 cents. So no, you don't have to buy the whole one. And there are people that will sell you Bitcoins from as little as $1 or a rand or a ruble or whatever it is to unlimited up. So yeah, you don't have to buy a whole one. And they were very wise in the way that they made it so infinitely dividable, if that makes sense.
Fungible.
There we go.
One of my favorite words.
When I first heard it, I had to look it up, I must tell you.
Yeah, it's such a different word, fungible.
Okay.
Okay,
It's not something we normally have in our everyday conversation.
No. Okay, so how does Bitcoin grow and how often does it grow? Well, at the end of the day, it's treated like an asset, and because it is like digital gold. Plus the other things is, it's almost like a commodity as well, because it hasn't actually been defined as a currency as yet. But it grows. The growth is dependent on what is happening out there in the world. What's the supply? What's the demand? Because those are all the things that can influence the price and the growth of the currency. If you had bought a Bitcoin a year ago, and whatever currency, whether it's dollars, rands, pounds, reals, we actually did a study, and it actually grew against those currencies. It grew from about 250% to about 320 odd percent over that year. And that is an enormous growth. So it grows according to, or rather that percentage was derived from the devaluing of the fiat currency versus the growth of the Bitcoin price. So it's no one can predict where this price is going and how it's going to grow, but we know that it is going to grow because there is a finite supply of 21 million Bitcoins ever to be mined, and we've already mined 75% of those Bitcoins so far. So that is how it grows.
Absolutely right. And it has a lot to do with consumer adoption as well. So, the more people that are getting involved in Bitcoin, learning to work with Bitcoin, etc., they then put a demand for a Bitcoin. And as you said, there's a finite supply, and that then sort of pushes the price. It's economics. It's just pure economics. How often does it grow? Well, each and every day there's fluctuation in that price. It's not set necessarily by once a month, once a quarter. It's on a daily basis, hourly basis. It can grow and lose value up and down in a short term, but over the long term it is continually on an upward curve because of the economics of supply and demand.
So if you're a speculator and you want to buy Bitcoin to sell it and make profit, the minute there's a downturn, you're completely stressed out, and you're watching that price all the time. But if you're a long-term investor, you understand that that this is how things are. Sometimes there's a bit of volatility. Sometimes the price can be stable. Sometimes there's a massive bull run and everyone gets excited. But then you have the bear as well. So clawing it down. And this is if you're a long-term investor, you will sleep better because you won't be panicking about the price. So that's where I want to be. I don't want to be concerned about the price growing, overnight and dropping overnight. I just know long term this is where we need to be, and and Bitcoin is going to grow even more so in the future. There are so many applications. Let's talk about even the blockchain. There are many countries, many big corporations that are getting involved in Bitcoin and the blockchain technology. So it can only grow. It's just one of those things. This is the digital economy we're talking about.
Yep, 100% agree with that.
Can I lend my Bitcoins out and get interest? Yes, there are platforms where you can actually lend your Bitcoins out. So there are platforms where you can actually borrow, take loans out in Bitcoin. So they are out there. And, the micro-lending market is really huge. So the aim is to actually, if you're into this, you'd get multiple small loans instead of one big loan, because you spread your risk. But there certainly are platforms that do that, or you could even do it within your community. But you do need to make sure that there's a way there's a system in place, an agreement in place, that type of thing.
Correct. Tracy, just for our listeners, if you're at all interested in this part, contact myself or Tracy and we can lead you in the right direction here, because it is a pretty good option. Bitcoin, if you look at it as a currency, yes, why not? Why not lend out your coins, take them offline and get some interest on that?
Yes, absolutely. So also another $1 million question, can my Bitcoins be faked and become worthless? Actually, no, because Bitcoin cannot be duplicated. And that is the beauty of this. You can't go and copy somebody's hard drive and make those Bitcoins yourself, because the beauty of Bitcoin is that it is an open source, which an open source actually means that there are a lot of hands and eyes focused on what's going down. So there's millions of computers around the world that are mining Bitcoins and verifying Bitcoins. And that's basically the reason why it can't be faked, because there's just too many eyes on it. Can it become worthless? Well, you know what? We don't believe it can, but there's always risk in anything that you do, and who knows? Maybe they can, but for some reason I doubt that totally. So this becomes to your belief. My belief is that this Bitcoin is going to the price is going to rocket. It's going to rocket. In the next 20 years. I mean, I get goosebumps thinking of 20 years.
Absolutely right. The whole blockchain technology is quite fascinating, and the group, whoever it was that designed and created this tech, the whole way that the blockchain works, is an absolute genius. Because what they've done is they've taken, they link all the transactions, all the blocks together. Okay, so the block that was prior to the one we're currently working with is linked into the current one we're working with, and that in turn gives a link for the future one. For somebody to be able to fake that, they would have to, I don't know, it's just like not feasible. Even if you had 1 million even if you had NASA's supercomputers, you wouldn't be able to do that in the time frame that it takes to create the next block. So the next block is created in about 10 minutes. So the chances of that happening are so remote, I would say absolutely impossible. But, I don't know. I just cannot see it with the technology that we have today with the blockchain, that could ever happen. And, obviously if they were fake, they would then become worthless, but that is never going to happen. So I don't think that should be a concern for any listener.
Absolutely. Well, Merv, we've done one page of frequently asked questions. There are another 3 others. What we're going to do is we're going to keep these for next broadcast that we do in the next couple of weeks. And just to urge any listeners, if you have any questions that you want answered, please add them to the comments below. We will gladly add them to this list. And honestly, we could carry on answering questions, so please send them.
Absolutely.
Okay, we want to end off with this. Oprah Winfrey, what a wonderful woman.
Amazing.
Energy is the essence of life. Every day you decide how you're going to use it by knowing what you want and what it takes to reach that goal, and by maintaining focus. Absolutely, you know, can't disagree with this one.
No, absolutely not. You know, we started off with, being able to say no, get rid of the stuff that's not serving you. And this can help you, once you understand that life is energy is the essence of life. If you're spending your life doing stuff you really don't want to do, you'll never be able to reach that goal or to maintain focus. She is one of a kind.
Well, energy is just really the most important thing out there, because if you have, I mean, even if you want to talk to somebody who's got a complete lack of energy, are you even compelled to speak to that person?
No.
No, you're not. And energy actually draws people to each other. It draws, because it's a positive thing. Energy is positive, and people are drawn to positivity. So, yeah, absolutely key. So what are you doing for energy these days, Merv?
I just think about Bitcoin, Tracy.
Well, that's fine too. So we can also, get very energetic regards Bitcoin, and certainly, the energy that we are applying with this is really doing this program. Doing media recordings, sharing more stories, doing some training, you having meetings, all this kind of stuff. It's energy, and it's energy focused in the right direction, which is the digital economy, which is Bitcoin, which is future generations' currency, the people's currency. And that's what we are, where our energy is flowing. And it's just such a wonderful, satisfying place to be. Also educating as many people as we can. So if you're a Bitcoin believer, you need to think about these things. How can you energize your life by talking to other people about Bitcoin and about the exciting new world that we are entering? So yeah, great fun, Merv, great fun.
Yeah. And you know what it also says here, Tracy, by knowing what you want and what it takes to reach that goal, that will give you energy. And but maybe at some stage we'll talk about this topic again. But you know what? Once you've got a goal, once you know what you want for that day, it will give you the energy to hop out of bed. I get excited. Look, I'm on Banting at the moment, trying to get to lose weight because I'm going to do a fire walk, and I don't want to sink to the bottom of the pit because I'm too heavy, all right? So I'm losing weight. So every morning I'm truly excited to hop out of bed because I've got a goal, and that goal pulls me with excitement and it gives me energy. Just thinking positively, finding people, like you said, that you can serve, that you can teach, that you can impart, that you can help, whatever will give you energy. And it helps you to move forward, and that's where we want to go.
Absolutely. So on that positive note, it's cheers from us, and we'll see you in a week.
See you next week, guys.